Hello and welcome to Wisdom and Productivity, the podcast of Dr. Efraim Martinez. Today is Monday, January 17th, and we are celebrating Martin Luther King's Day. It is appropriate for me to begin this quote with this quote from MLK. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. This quote is very important for me because when I was unable to address my anxiety and depression, I was feeling stuck in a medical leave of absence, away from my loved ones and from the work of my that is my passion, that is being a principal. Um, I was searching for meaning in life and how to address my needs. And it was finding this quote that going down the staircase, even though you cannot see the light, it was transformational for me and forever will be one of my favorite quotes. So, the topic of today's brief podcast is about how quitting coffee improved my productivity and reduce my inflammation. So let me talk about, and it's important that we talk about these topics because it is not only um, the man at home loving his family or the principal going to school and leading others and addressing the needs of different stakeholders, but it's also how do we maintain um, the our temple in the best shape possible, in the best state of mind possible, and I'm always searching for that. So I tweet about this with frequency. I have been trying to find better ways to feel. So one of my Achilles heels is inflammation, not only due to anxiety and depression that already produces this to happen, but also that I love sugar. I love treats, and it has to do a lot with the upbringing in childhood, right? What are the things that you bring with you, things that you were allowed to do and you continue doing, or the things that you were not allowed to and you do eventually as an adult, kind of like get back at whoever said that you could not eat or consume something. So I was feeling like when I will stand, I will be all stretched. Like it was hard to maneuver myself. I was always with joint pains and like discomfort to the point that I couldn't even do exercise because the pain was so much. So I started, you know, talking with my wife, ever so knowledgeable. I went to a homeopath. I went to different specialists, and undoubtedly, the thing that I needed to address ASAP was my consumption of sugar. So to give you an aspect, when my father will drink coffee, he would put 10 packets of sugar in the coffee. So that is where I came from. So I was better, of course. So I would put five when I first met my wife. And with time, I have been subbing either equal, thinking it was perfectly fine. Then I quit equal and I started using organic sugar, but still sugar, and I would put this delicious sugar in my coffee. And there were times where I would drink 8 to 9 cups of coffee a day. And that was when I started being a principal, and my health catapulted to the wrong side. With time, I started drinking only two coffees. One in the morning, the moment I woke up, and then I will bring one to work in a coffee mug. And for years, I will have my delicious black coffee with tons of sugar. It was amazingly delicious. But you start reading and learning new things and hearing to different people, and I learned that, or I came to the conclusion that what I liked was sugar with coffee, not necessarily coffee. And to prove that, I put myself over a test, and I said, just like my wife does, I will drink the coffee with no sugar. And it was it was not to my liking. It was not something that I really enjoyed. So suddenly, like that, I went from my two coffees, the one in the morning and the mug that I would bring to work, to only one cup of coffee in the morning. And that was revolutionary because that's something that I never thought I would do, because I would think the worst things and the headaches and the withdrawals. How is it possible that a product someone into productivity will drink coffee, will not quit so little, will drink so little coffee, and what to do with that? So I drank for a whole week my only cup of coffee in the morning, and I just didn't enjoy it. And this is good coffee, good quality coffee, fancy coffee. And it was bitter for me, for my taste. It was not something that I enjoyed. So it occurred to me to research what happens when you quit coffee cold turkey. And in this moment, I'm drinking only one cup a day in comparison to, like, at some point up to 8 to 9 cups of coffee with a bunch of sugar every day. So I learned that coffee increases your anxiety. And I'm like, what? I had no clue. And, I'm an educated, I'm a school principal, I'm a father. I should know these kind of things, but I didn't, or I ignored one of the two. So I said, well, for someone who is always trying to address in best way depression and anxiety, why not take away something that increases that anxiety? So I decided no coffee, zero, cold turkey. And I must admit that over the break, when I did this experiment, I had 2 days with headaches. They were not massive migraine headaches, but they it was a little bothersome in my head. And it would have been worse if I would have be drinking 8 to 9 cups of coffee. But it just happened. And I started drinking more water and feeling more refreshed. And suddenly a miracle happened because I was drinking less sugar. I was feeling less pain in my joints, on my hands, my elbows, and especially on my back, and especially on my right hip. Suddenly, inflammation decreased, and I was in a better mood. And because I was a better mood, I noticed that I was accomplishing more things. And both my productivity at home and at work improved just by quitting coffee. Just like Martin Luther King says, you need to take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. That is all for today. This has been the podcast of Dr. Efraim Martinez, Wisdom and Productivity, Peace and Calm.